course that didn't work. Hello people of the internet, this is Shaky Jake, and I really need a catchphrase. It's been a while since I've actually done anything along these lines, and I wanted to get back into recording. I wanted to get back into, doing some form of entertainment, whether it's considered entertaining or not, I don't know. But I've been meaning to get back into it for quite some time. And what better way to start off a new era of video making than to play some games? Because that is kind of my deal at the moment. And I thought a good starting point would be the very first game, or one of the first games I ever played when I was a kid. And that is The Lion King. So this particular version is the PC MS-DOS version, and it is available on Good Old Games, which you can buy for a mostly reasonable price. I thought it was reasonable, not everyone did, but you can get it on there, and it saves having to mess around with various settings trying to get it working because it's already been done for you. Because the last time I played this game was on the Super Nintendo, and I don't have as much attachment to that because that wasn't the version I played when I first started getting into games, and it's also not the version that I, genuinely love. So let's begin. And again, you've got the entirety of the Lion King soundtrack done in 16-bit arrangements, and it sounds so good. Disney games around this time were pretty damn good, I will say that. I also had Aladdin as well, and later on I had the Jungle Book. Of the three, the demo's playing, might as well let that do that for a while. The first games I really played were The Lion King and Aladdin. And of the two, The Lion King was the one I preferred, because it was also the Disney film I preferred. But they are both great games, and they are both deceptively difficult, as in, they might be Disney games, but they're hard. It's hard to deny that. I am not expecting to go through this game without dying. I can do it without dying, I did it a couple of years ago, but I ain't promising that today. So, let's set the difficulty to difficult, because I'm a man, I'm 25, I kind of need to prove that I can play games, because apparently I can't play games. That's an in-joke. We're going to not redefine the keys, but we'll have a look at the controls anyway. And I'm going to keep it for authenticity. I'm going to keep the controls as they are. So up, down, left, right, space. I am going to actually modify a few of these though. Z, R, X. So half and half. I'm keeping most of the controls the same, but I'm changing a few because I'd rather press actual keys, not Alt, Control and Shift, etc. Don't want to bring up sticky keys in the middle of a game. Let me just double check again. So yes, difficulty is set to the hardest. It won't give me anything special, I just want to have it for bragging rights. Let's start.
It's start.
Thank you, Timon, for stating the obvious. Now, unlike most Disney games of this period, The Lion King doesn't actually tell the story at all. It just assumes that you've seen the film, which, in all fairness, makes sense. Because I'd seen the film countless times by the time I started playing games, so it wasn't a big deal for me. But it's very dissimilar to other Disney games at the time, so for example, Aladdin still tells the story, the Jungle Book still tells the story. The Lion King just assumes you've seen the film, or but rather Westwood Studios decided that you'd already seen the film enough to know what was basically going on. Now that may be the right or wrong approach, I don't know, but I personally don't have a problem with it. And of all the 10 levels that you can play in this game, this is without a doubt the easiest one. I don't recall ever dying on this level. There's no pitfalls, there's no real difficult battles or anything. There is one at the end, but that's just to teach you the game mechanics. Overall, it's quite a nice introductory level, and as my introduction to games, this was quite a nice way to, kind of get used to the whole theme of how games work. So I'm trying to remember what this bug does once I get it. I believe it extends the health. Let's double check. Or it just does something else, I don't know. And Simba as a cub is a proper 90s kid. It's amazing. Can I get a double kill? No. Of course I can't. When I was doing test recordings I could get double kills, but when I'm doing the actual proper recording, obviously I can't. Now, when I was warring at these porcupines, there was a glitch where it, they would sink into the floor tiles, and then I couldn't jump on them. And that can happen as well. If it does happen where they land in the floor, you can just warp them again and it resets it. It's quite a weird glitch. And not that there's anything down here apart from the secrets I just got, but this teaches you the whole mechanic of there are secret areas that you can find. And I am going to demonstrate something actually going back to that secret area. But I have to admit, the renditions of the film soundtrack in 16-bit, absolutely spot on. They're gorgeous. I've still got the PC disc for this, and you can literally rip the game's entire soundtrack off from it, which is, great. So this bit here, you can't go past unless if you roll, which is, what you're meant to do. But this one, you can just run to it and the roll animation starts. You don't actually have to press roll. Not quite sure why. I don't know if that's a technical oversight or if that's just for convenience. I'm not sure. And I don't think there's much difference between the various difficulty settings apart from how many lives you start off with, possibly how many hits you can take in a single life. Apart from that, I think it's pretty much the same. And I am struggling to remember what all these bugs do now. Some of them will extend the war meter, some of them will extend the health meter, others will give you health. The gold one either gives you the most health or the other bug with the brown zigzaggy patterns. And we're about to approach the first boss battle of the game. It's relatively straightforward. It's just, again, it teaches you the gameplay mechanics essentially in a natural way. And yeah, so let's get the easiest level out of the way so we can get on to the more interesting stuff. So does anyone remember that part in The Lion King where Simba just randomly encounters a single hyena and decides, you know what, you're on my father's land, I'm gonna beat you up and make a hyena out of you. Yeah, I don't remember that either, but boss battle done.
Everything the light touches is our key.
Oh, except for that dark area over there. Yeah, that's not our territory. You forgot to say that, Mufasa. And here we have the first of two bonus levels. They're both quite difficult, actually. It is possible to get at least 50 bugs on this. I don't expect to be concentrating hard on this because I'm recording, but we'll see how well I do. Right, I'm warring that because I don't think I'm going to get them otherwise. No, I didn't get them. Oh well. 28, that's respectable. Okay. Now, we've just noticed that right now it says War at Monkeys. If I move, it will tell you what the actual level name is. When I was a kid, first playing this game, I did not know that I had to do that. So for years, I only ever saw 2 levels of The Lion King. The Pride Lands and this level. All because when you're 4 or 5, reading comprehension isn't exactly the highest thing on your priority list. And I was taken in by how nice the colour scheme was. So, 2 butterflies, how nice. So I never actually saw anything about this game beyond this level until I got a little bit older. It's quite sad, really. I think I got a little bit further in Aladdin because it was, it actually, didn't have something like this. But this level teaches you the first bit of puzzle solving you've got to do. And when I was a kid, at 4 or 5, I completely failed because I didn't realise I had to reward the pink monkeys. So, let's do that now. This one is relatively straightforward, you just change them both. And these ostrich rides. Again, I never saw this for years either. But again, reading comprehension when you're 4 or 5, not exactly the thing you want when playing games. At least for me it wasn't. The timing for those double jumps can be a pain. I figured it out over the years, but I think the first few times I played through I used to struggle getting the timing just right. And fortunately on the PC version you can actually grab onto the side of these hippos' heads. On the Super Nintendo version that I've got, which I bought when I was a student at college, you had to go the long way around, which was a pain, obviously. Actually, there is something down here. I'm going to try and get as many 1-ups as possible. Oh, ooh. I didn't want to have my first F be that stupid. That would have been embarrassing. Okay, here we go. Now this ostrich ride is the last time you ever have to do it, but it doesn't tell you what jumps to make or whether to duck, so we're going to try and do this without dying. It's actually quite tense. Oh, I think that's it. Yep, that's it. When I was doing a few test recordings of this, because I was debating whether to use Shadow Play or OBS, and word of advice, never bother with Shadow Play for DOSBox. It doesn't seem to get on with it very well. OBS seems to be a lot more consistent. So we're gonna... Oh yeah, and if you jump on this hippo... Oh, hippo? What am I saying? If you jump on that rhino, nothing happens. It's just a waste of time. And I think we have to war you. But the recording that I've been doing over the past few days, I've just been trying to work out what exactly I'm doing, because it's been a couple of years since I've even done anything remotely like this. And I'm really unfamiliar with the whole, how recording is done these days, because the last time I tried it was with Fraps, and Fraps is not exactly my favourite bit of software ever, especially when it comes to compressing the video or lack of. But I have quite fond opinions of both OBS and Shadow Play from what I've experienced. Granted, they have advantages and disadvantages, but I do like both. Oh, I should have ordered that monkey first. What am I doing? Wasn't concentrating. Let's do that again. I've already built up a nice amount of lives, even on level 2. considering I'm playing this on the hardest difficulty as well. And I'm taking so long on this level, the soundtrack's had to start again. Okay, now I believe I wore you. And that should be the level over. There's a really fantastic video that you can watch on YouTube, and it's by Double Fine Productions, you know, the guys who developed Psychonauts, and they got one of the developers in from who worked on The Lion King, and it's a really interesting documentary, not just about this game, but about game development and about, you know, working for a company like Disney. It's fascinating to watch. It's definitely worth watching, especially if you've played this game. And this can be annoying, but one little subtle detail I've always liked about this particular bonus level is if you run for a considerable amount of time, Timon does actually, you know, take a while to stop. There's a lot of subtle details about this game that I never realised until I actually got a bit older. It's the kind of thing you gloss over when you're when you're a kid. But then as you get older you realise the developers actually gave a damn about the product they were making. And I think that shows in this. Would I say it's the best movie developed game tie-in ever? I don't know. I think it's up there, but I don't know if it's the best. But it is good. And I have some childhood nostalgia bias talking there, but I think it's pretty good for what it is. Interestingly, this is timed, I think, on the other versions of the game. On PC it doesn't seem to be, so I could just grab every single bug, providing I don't hit the spiders. But yeah, because this game doesn't actually tell the story of the Lion King, you'd be convinced there's only certain characters that exist. Okay, have I got all the bugs and it just won't end? I believe I have, so I have to eat a spider anyway. Oh, really? Really, game? Fine. That's a little bit lackluster, but oh well. Okay, so this was the level. When I finally saw this level, it blew my mind, because obviously, based on the story I'd just told, I'd only ever seen 2 levels of The Lion King. So, that's my embarrassing childhood story, essentially. I promise I got better at games after that. Oh god, no, I'm not concentrating, come on. Because I'm playing on difficult as well. No, right, here we go. I'm actually concerned about when my first death is going to occur. So, is this the bug that gives me full health? I think it is. Okay, skip that one for a bit, in case I need it. This bug here, you don't want to pick up, because it will, you know, take off half of your health or something ridiculous. So I'm going to leave that. And here, oh god, we still got hyenas. There is a subtle detail about the hyenas in this game. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but it's pretty clever, and that hyena is a lemming apparently. Okay. And I'm trying to remember if that bug I just picked up was actually the bonus level bug or not. I thought it was a different bug, but for now, we'll leave it. So this level is where the Lion King... Oh, for God's sake, come on. Okay, when you get to the different difficulty settings, enemies take a different amount of hits to kill. I can't believe I've only just remembered that. If you're playing on easy, it takes 1 hit. If you're playing on normal, it takes 2. If you're playing on difficult like me, it takes 3. That's the other difference with this game. You can roll into these vultures as well, but I prefer jumping on them. Like that. These things here, I've always done my head in. As in, you can't grab that third one very easily. In fact, I don't even know if you can. I don't know. And it's interesting how this level plays the Be Prepared song in the background, because, spoiler alert, there is a level later in this game called Be Prepared. And it doesn't make sense to me, from a grown-up perspective, that you'd have Be Prepared, the song, in a level that isn't called Be Prepared. Now my guess is the developers thought, how far are people going to get into this game? Would they rather hear a really well-known song as early as possible, or would they rather hear it towards the end of the game? I don't know. Oh, there's the second idle animation for you though. But my guess is that it's also to do with the timeline of the film as well. All these songs play in relatively the same order as they do in the film. I don't know why I'm even trying to work out the background information behind this, but it's just something I've always wondered the older I've got. So yeah, this game does get more intricately detailed as it progresses, and that's also, shown by the level design, the enemy design, the amount of things you have to do. It's all quite, for what it is as a film tie-in for a Disney film, it is really good. It's difficult, but it's fun, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this the first Let's Play I do on the channel. So I'm going to stop talking for a moment because, I might just forget to jump or something stupid. When I was doing test recordings for this, I only played up to this level because I figured if I played up to the end, it kind of makes it a bit too obvious that I've played it recently, and I don't want to spoil that kind of theme. I have got a couple of games I do want to play, and I think it's better and it's more authentic from the viewer's experience if the person recording it hasn't necessarily, played it to the point of, they know what they're doing. I mean, I do know what I'm doing, but I don't want to make it look as if I do. Oh my... I don't want to get gangbanged by vultures. Come on. Oh yeah, there we go. So satisfying. Why did I forget to jump? Oh dear, okay. I don't even know if I can make it across. Oh, I can. Good. This is one issue with having spacers jump. It's a little bit finicky. The controls for this game are a little bit archaic by today's standards, I will say that. So I've got to do this again. Now, do I go for the bug at the top to get my health back? That's the question. Because at this level, when I was test recording it the other night, it did get a little bit shifty at points. Come on, Simba. Okay, good. Might as well run through that because I'm not going to reach it. See, taking on two hyenas can be a little bit of a pain when you're a cub. Especially because, oh no, one of them did, yeah, that's it, walk off the edge. Make me feel better. Right, vultures, come on. As I just demonstrated then, you can roll into them. Okay, this bit is now going to be the last bit of the level if I remember correctly, and it's quite tight. Let's see if I can do it without, dying. because you only have a limited area to work with. So that's one hit each. I know I could have got one in then, but I didn't want to risk it. Okay, that's that done. Oh shoot, I forgot there was another hyena after this. Thankfully it's only one. I wouldn't be surprised if this was supposed to be based on the bit from the film where the three hyenas take, you know, trap Simba and Nala. Wouldn't surprise me, honestly. But yeah, according to this game, Nala doesn't exist. So Simba is a free single man, according to this game. Oh, there's an ominous figure. I wonder who that could be. We'll probably won't see him again. Oh, we're on bug toss again. Let's see if I can do better than last time. Probably not, but we'll find out. Right. I can't believe I'm spamming war this early, but I kind of need to, because this mini-game is actually quite difficult. More difficult than it looks, unless if you do something like that, where you just give me some bugs in a row. That was actually worse, but okay. Here we have the one unique level of the entire game. It's such a great level. The music on the PC version doesn't sound quite as good as the SNES one. The SNES one? It doesn't sound quite as good as the one on the SNES. I'm not quite sure why. I'm sure the SNES arrangement was a little bit more powerful. I could be misremembering though. But again, this is the version of the game that I grew up with, so I shouldn't be bashing it too much. The only reason I bought the SNES one was because I couldn't get the PC version working for years. Great soundtrack as well. And again, I used to struggle with this level a lot when I first played it. But that might have been due to reaction time, it may have been due to unfamiliarity with it, I don't actually know. This is the first time I've played this level in a considerable amount of time, so I'm surprised I'm doing as well as I'm doing, to be honest. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, first death of the game. There we go. Take a drink if you want to treat it as a drinking game. Told you I wouldn't make it through the game without dying at least once. I'll presumably die more times later, but we'll see. It's because I wasn't concentrating then, and I believe I also ran through a rock that didn't do damage to me for some reason, so I was a little bit distracted. I know it sounds like I'm coming up with excuses now, so I'm going to stop. Now, if I remember correctly, on the Double Fine Productions video, which I am going to link in the description, this was a level they had to lobby to get in the game. And I'm glad, you know, they were able to, because this is the one level that offers such a unique perspective. It's kind of like a sort of scrolling runner, but towards the screen. It's really good for, you know, what was 1994 technology. So I was 2 when this game was released. And on difficult, yeah, you only need like 2 hits from an antelope and you're dead. I could have sworn it was a lot harsher than that. I thought it was just 1 hit and you were dead, but clearly not. I think on easy and normal it's a little bit more lenient on how many hits you can have, which makes, you know, which makes complete sense. And yeah, there's the rock that didn't hurt me. And nor did that one. There you go. Stay on the left of the screen, basically.
Kill him.
And occasionally there are cutscenes. This is one of the few times a cutscene will actually play. I'm not quite sure why it took so long to load the cutscene, but regardless. Oh, there we go. Now this level's interesting because you have to avoid all the rocks falling down. It's actually quite tense at times, depending on how you play it. And what the game does is it tracks where you are on screen at the point when the rocks decide to spawn, and it tries to track you as much as possible. If that's how I remember it anyway. I could be completely misremembering. Oh, how did that still hurt me? Come on. Is there anything down here? No. Narrowly missed an explosion then. Is there a secret area here? There is. Awesome. So we're going to miss one of the boulder chase sequences, but that's not a huge deal. Didn't even need to jump up there. I could have done. But I decided not to. So once we've completed this level, we'll be about halfway through the game. There's a lot more focus on Cub Simba than there is Adult Simba, and I think that's for the best. But when we get to the Adult Simba levels, I will expand on that. And I think that's the first checkpoint of this level, unless if I skipped it earlier. Okay, because the wall meter's not full, or nowhere near full, it won't work on enemies, which is quite a nice additional detail. Wait for it to refill a bit. Fortunately, this isn't one of these levels where, as the rocks keep falling, you're going to fail. It could have been so strict, but thankfully it isn't. You can just mess around this level. I think there's another secret here. There is. Excellent. Oh, game. Come on. This bit here used to screw me over quite a bit when I was a kid. Because the game is quite persistent in how difficult it can be. But usually I acknowledge I fail because, you know, I'm not paying attention or I'm not timing it correctly. There we go.
If you ever come back, we'll kill ya!
Now it is interesting to note the differences between the different versions of this game, because there are tons of releases of this particular game. There's the PC version, there's the Super Nintendo version, there's the Mega Drive, oh god, there's the Mega Drive version, the Amiga version, the Game Boy version. You know, there's tons of different versions of this game, and they all have subtle differences. So the music doesn't cut off on the PC version compared to, say, the Super Nintendo version. Now, one thing I do like about the PC version is it has the soundtrack from the Super Nintendo, but it has the gameplay of the Mega Drive in the sense of, you know, Simba actually moves quite quick. He's not as slow as he is on the Super Nintendo. I used to love this level, by the way. I know some people hate it for a reason I'm going to show in a bit, and I went completely the wrong way. I went the trickier way, but let's resolve that. Oh, by the way, this is the last level with Cub Simba. I should point that out right now. Spiders are annoying, by the way, I should point that out. So can the frogs in certain instances. I am checking my microphone, and hopefully I've lowered the desktop volume enough so that, you know, you guys can actually hear my narration. As I said, I am a little bit rusty when it comes to screen recording, so I haven't done it in about how many years now? 4, 5? And back then I was on a much worse PC. I had a much worse microphone. I am in the process of hopefully getting some better recording equipment, but for now it's going to have to be a headset. And as I said, I was trying the Lion King out with Shadowplay and OBS, and Shadowplay is great for modern games. I was trying it with Fallout 4, and it works fantastically with that. When I tried it with this, DOSBox just basically said no. So that's when I went over to OBS, and OBS is fantastic. Definite props to the devs who made that, because it's great software. I'll definitely be using it for fairly old games, I think. And also it's nice because I can just look at OBS on my second monitor and just see how the recording's going. With Shadow Play I can't really do that. I'd have to modify the volume quite considerably before I do anything too substantial. I thought there was a checkpoint here. Okay, apparently not. Now, this is the reason why a lot of people, online particularly, hated this game in some cases. They hated how fast the logs moved. I personally don't mind them. I think there are harder points in the game than this. They all follow a strict pattern, so as long as you figure out the pattern, you're fine. Watch as I die now. I bet you that's going to happen. Oh, I did make that good. Oh, no. Come on. I'm actually going to stop talking for a minute because I do actually want to concentrate. No, I died. I'm a little bit out of practice with well, as I said, I'm out of practice with the whole game, to be honest, but I reckon I could make just a one-part Let's Play out of this if I complete it. Oh, of course I'd go the harder way. Thank you, game. Thank you so much. In some ways, this level is kind of a sick remake of the Can't Wait to Be King level, because it's, you know, you've got puzzles, but they're much stricter in how they operate, and they're much more intense. I seem to be concentrating now, which is good, because concentration is always important. I put down my 2 deaths to a lack of concentration. I know, poor excuse. But some people who played this said this level was way too difficult because of this part of the game. They said it was far too, you know, it's easy to just be stuck in a loop and then eventually you give up. Do I want the 1-up? Yes, I do. But again, it's not as if these logs keep changing, you know, the speed they're falling down. If the game did that, then it would be possibly the hardest bit of the entire game, but thankfully the devs didn't do that. Is there anything over here? I think there is. Yeah. If you pick up those spiders, you lose a ton of health. In fact, it may even kill you on difficult. I can't remember, but I know it's not good to pick up. You know what this level reminds me of? There's a Kellogg's game that me and some relatives played when I was growing up, and you played as Tony the Tiger. It really annoys me that I can't remember this game, because I know I definitely played it. I definitely didn't dream it. We used to play it on like Windows 95 or 98, and there's a level in that game that's very similar to the Hakuna Matata level. Don't ask me how I remember it. If anyone knows what that game is, feel free to tell me, because I'd love to play it again. Okay, here's the boss battle. Because, does anyone remember The Lion King where Simba just decided to take on an orangutan for no reason whatsoever? Basically, Simba in this game is a right arsehole. He just goes around and causes anarchy in the animal kingdom. Like, this orangutan was probably just minding its own business, being like, yeah, I'm eating my banana, I'm throwing coconuts around, I'm slamming the ground every so often when I'm a little bit bored. Oh yeah, and if you try and jump too early, that happens. And I was going to try and do a jump then, but it clearly didn't work. Well, there you go. So yeah, Simba in this game is an arsehole. But you could just write your own narrative. Oh, for God's sake. You could just write your own narrative for the game if you really wanted to. I'm going to write my own one at some point when we get to the end of the game, assuming I get that far. But to paraphrase, Simba is not a very nice lion. I think this is the last stretch now, or the penultimate stretch. Let's find out. Please don't kill me, thank you. Thank you for not killing me then. I thought the sprite was going to be honest. This orangutan has persistence, I will say that. And if I'm getting the species wrong, I do apologise. And that's it. That's the Hakuna Matata level done. For a level that means no worries, it's actually quite a difficult level. And we're back to playing Timon again, judging by the theme that's playing. So because we know this particular version of the game doesn't have it timed, and even if you collect all the bugs, it doesn't seem to actually trigger the next part of the game, I will commit suicide as Timon quite frequently. Why am I not making this jump? Come on. There we go. Wasn't pushing right hard enough. There we go. I didn't even mean to do that. Okay, we're on the last 4 levels. And here is where the developers decided, you've got bored of playing Cub Simba now, you need a new challenge. Here, be an adult. Have a mane. Have this majestic mane. And again, this part of the game was a myth to me when I was a kid, because I used to look at the manual and it always said how many levels there were, and I knew at level 7 Simba would become an adult. And I always thought, wow, it must be so cool playing as adult Simba, you know, beating other animals up and just playing as an adult. And when I finally played it, it was a pretty good moment, I will say that. So Z is scratch, that's your regular scratch. X is that. And X and the directional keys, I believe, does the whole flipping over thing. I do need to check that out. Like that. Most of these enemies you normally just want to use the regular scratch, because the problem with the secondary attack is that it does leave you quite wide open to being hit. Now, it's interesting because the developers, when it got to this level, you have to relearn the gameplay mechanics again. As in, because you can't roll anymore, because you're not Cub Simba. But on the plus side, you get all these attacks. So the game goes from being a platformer to almost being a beat-em-up, in my opinion. It's kind of interesting how it changes. Oh, screw you, monkey. Right, we're going to sort this little dude out. Oh, I was hoping that was going to kill it, but oh well. Oh, he's moved, good. Gotta say, Simba, don't let yourself get owned by this guy. And naturally the war has improved, which is awesome. So for some people, if we're going to make a plot for this game up, you're actually playing as Mufasa right now. Yeah? Simba never grew up. This is Mufasa. This is how he actually survived the entirety of the Lion King. That's the joke I could make, but I'm not going to. I'm still trying to remember how to do... Oh god, 2 of them are spawned. That doesn't normally happen. It's because I was, I think I triggered a volume that basically said, because the enemy's gone past a certain point, spawn another one, why not? I think I might die because I'm not paying attention. Come on. Oh, good. How many of these guys are there? Well, there only used to be about 3. Come on. Right, there we go. There's Rafiki, who exists only for this level in the continue screens. I need some health bad. As I said, I am out of practice with this game, but I think it's more entertaining that way. Is this a boulder bit? No, there's some health. Good. So as I was saying, because this level teaches you new mechanics, it's almost the mirror version of the Pride Lands level, except instead of being Cub Simba, you're Adult Simba, and instead of going from left to right, you're going from right. Oh, balls! Okay, I died there because I, accidentally hit the I hit the boulder as I was going down. So that's the 3rd death so far. I did tell you I wasn't going to do it in one go. That's why I got as many lives as I could from the beginning. The war sound glitched out, that's quite cool. But I will say, that mentality of you play worse when you're recording is very much true. I have completed this game several times without dying, and I know it's possible, but recording it's a bit like stage fright, in a way. Right, can I just spam attack and then they die? 2, 3, 4... Maybe the difficulty settings add more of these guys as well. Can't remember. I think there was 5, but we'll find out on the next one. And interestingly, Simba as an adult is mute, as in he doesn't say a single word. He's strong silent type by the time he gets to main. As a kid, he's a 90s throwback, but as an adult, he's serious business. Okay, roaring does still kill them, that's fine. I gotta say, because I used to roar at them when I was younger. Right, get a continue, that's what the sun does. So boulders, the reason I died last time is because I accidentally, Z'd. That's not even an actual word, but because I pressed Z as I let the boulder go, or as the game let the boulder go, that's why I died. Because if a boulder ran over you, you would die. I've not tried it recently, but I'm pretty sure that would actually happen. Can I roar at you? No, I can't. Actually, I'm not going to try because I've lost all my... I've lost my roar meter. But the checkpoints now change so that it actually indicates, the main around the lion symbol. Very similar to the film. And what you can do, I didn't really do it much as a cub, but if you press up, you can obviously scroll up. It's really important on these later levels to use that control. And then obviously ducking will let you look below, which again you'll also need to do. But because I used to play this on PC, and because PCs didn't always have backwards compatibility with old games particularly, I didn't play this version of The Lion King for years until I bought it on Good Old Games a couple of days ago. And I know I wanted to make it a Let's Play at some point, and I figured it would be a good one to do as my first one, because I have quite a lot of attachment to this. You can't roll this boulder down, so you just have to run. And there you go. Now I'm trying to remember what enemies these are. Are they leopards or cheetahs. I'm not the biggest animal expert, but I'm pretty sure they're one of the two. I know the manual definitely says. And DOSBox, well, the good old games version, which runs through DOSBox, does provide a PDF of the manual, which I find so good. I'll have to look through that manual at some point. Yes, I do like the soundtrack for this. I mean, the soundtrack in the film is amazing, but the 16-bit rendition of the soundtrack is equally as good, in my opinion. So it is easy to hum along to. Die. I'm still trying to work out how these monkeys die. Like, they hear Simba roar and they just think, oh my god, no, I can't bear to live in the animal kingdom anymore. So they just decide to, drop down. And again, I used to die on this boulder every so often because I would stand under it if I jumped and pressed, the attack button. You'd get squashed. Now, what I need to work out, particularly before the last level, is how to do the flip attack. You saw me jump on the enemies, which does still work. It does look a bit goofier though when you're adult Simba. For some reason, not every version has the proper animation. It just does this weird jumpy thing. Sadly, the PC version seems to have that, which is a shame. So we're near the end of the level, because this is the final stretch. I'm not quite sure why the developers gave you this specific monotonous spamming attack section of the game to do, but whatever. So we go down.
Simba, you must take your place in the circle of life.
This is CNN. Yes, thank you, Mufasa. And that's pretty much the only appearance of Mufasa in the entire game, apart from that one cutscene after the first level. I find it amazing that certain characters are literally ignored in the game, but that's what happens when you don't tell the story. And I will give you my version of the Lion King story for this game once we complete it, assuming we get that far and I don't die on the next few levels. So far, Timon's probably died the most, if Simba hasn't topped his death count by now. And Pumbaa doesn't really die if he loses the other bonus game. He just I'm assuming Timon and Pumbaa just give up and just go, you know what, we'll try this another day when you've had a bit more concentration. Ooh, that could have been a death there. Alright, that bug can do one. We'll get this side instead. No. Okay. Now, this level. This is the Be Prepared level. Except it doesn't actually have Be Prepared in the background. It's rather amusing to me. For some people, they would say this is the hardest level in the entire game. And I'd be inclined to agree with them, because it's tough. And I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, this level is one of the toughest levels, if not the toughest. It depends on what my mood is. Sometimes I find this the hardest, other days I find Hakuna Matata to be hard. It just depends on my mood. If there's more deaths on this, then clearly I find this level harder. And you have to pay attention to a lot of things. Now, have you noticed something? Because it took me years to realise this was a thing. The hyenas show up for first time in the game since level 3. Which, when you think about it, level 3 to level 8, that's 5 levels where they haven't actually appeared as enemies. When you're a cub, the hyenas are big, they're huge. There's that sense of scale where when you're a cub, the hyenas are this scary enemy that you have to defeat. And you don't really have much in the way to defeat them other than wait for them to get exhausted and then jump on them a few times. When you're an adult, they're a lot smaller. And because of the game's... well, sorry, not the game's. Because of the film's plot, because at this point in the Lion King's plot, you know, that everyone in the Pride Lands is starving because, you know, Scar's let the kingdom go to hell, and, you know, all the grass and all the other animals have gone off. The hyenas are starving, so they're pretty pathetic by this part of the game. Still dangerous, but they're pretty pathetic. And it took me years to even notice that that was a thing. But these bats are the worst. I think they scare me more than the other enemies, to be honest. So kill them. So as you can see, the hyena doesn't actually... oh, what's the control? I'm seriously trying to remember the control to flip enemies, because I need it for the last level. If I don't get it, then there's gonna... I stood too close to the thing. Oh, God. Not concentrating again. Right, let's do this properly. Come on. We mean serious business now. You can run through these. Sometimes it's good to do, other times it's not. I'm not going to do it. I'll do it for the next one though. But yeah, I don't remember this bit ever happening in the film. I'm not quite sure what this is meant to be based on. I'm assuming it's meant to be based on the actual Be Prepared song within the level design. But in terms of the actual plot, I'm assuming it's kind of like a... imagine if this was like a Rocky style montage sequence for Simba, except instead of Gonna Fly Now, it's the Lion King soundtrack for when he's running back to Pride Rock. I may have thought about this far too much, I will say that. I do have a habit of overthinking these things. Okay, it takes 5 hits to kill them, that's good to know. Oh, there's a secret. I actually completely forgot about that. And I think the other problem as well is I haven't actually been extending my health very much, which is probably the other reason why I seem to be dying quite quickly. Unless if that's been removed from the PC version. But I doubt it. Oh, come on, that should have landed. Okay, jump and jump. Okay, here we have a puzzle to do. You have to basically knock these things. And you have a choice of where you go. Do you go to the first one, or do you go to the right? And if you let those things drop on you, you do die. Now, if I go down this first exit, I get a checkpoint. If I go down the other exit, I get loads of good stuff. I am going to... I may regret this, but I'm going to attempt to get the bonus books and all the bonus stuff, because I need a 1-up and I would like a bonus level. I am ducking because I can't remember if I would actually get hit if I don't. Oh no, I don't, okay. Okay, we're skipping a checkpoint in favour of this. So this bit is actually quite difficult because of the bats. The bats literally ruin everything. Bats are the worst thing about this level. I'm not even going to attempt to get that 1-up. I don't feel it's worth the risk. Okay, so hyena, die. Right, where's the platform? Right, we're not going to risk that 1-up either. It's just not worth it. Not when I'm doing a Let's Play. Oh, come on! Come on! Oh, I've got to start the level all over again because I didn't get the checkpoint. Oh, that's annoying. Right. There's a reason why I didn't want to over-practice this. Because this is more entertaining, I would have thought. I hope. Forgot. Die! Come on. Now the question is, do I have to collect the 1-up and stuff again? Because I believe I will. And if so, I probably will just skip it. I need the checkpoint. I'm so out of practice with this game that I don't want to risk it again. Nope, mistime that. Wait, this can test the theory. Oh, there's a different bug there, okay. So I've at least got 1. Come down here, come on. I think it's actually easier to attack in certain versions of this game. It feels a little bit slower on this. Where's that bat? Come here. Die. But yeah, this music's actually quite uninspiring for a level called Be Prepared. I've always wondered what it'd be like if it had been reversed and the Elephant Graveyard had this theme and Be Prepared had the Be Prepared theme. Although in a way, this theme does suit the level just because it's quite tense. Okay, I think all the bugs are gone, so I don't actually need to collect them again, hopefully. Let's find out. No, they've all gone, apart from the health one. So we're pretty much... Oh, and that platform somehow is omnipotent. It just knows where you go, which is quite convenient. And I'm pretty sure there used to be bats here on other versions of the game. It actually made it really difficult at points. Right, I think I'm not going to get to that platform in time, so come on, we'll kill you at the very least. And then we will grab the 1-up this time. That was a mistake on my part. Right. I'm going to try and do this as quick as possible. Oh, that was what the problem was. I had to grab the platforms as I went down, then immediately drop. That's the secret. Okay. As I said, I am out of practice with this. I was a bit worried I was going to die then, to be honest. Okay, you don't actually need to duck here for reasons unknown to me. You'd have thought that would be, you know, kind of an insta-death kind of deal. We're going to we'll do this the cheap way. We are near the end of the level, thankfully. Oh, and the splash damage still hurts you, that's the other problem. What's The developers were really kind here. They gave you a checkpoint for the last bit of the level, which is this. And you have to dodge all these different, volcanic eruptions as rocks fall down. It can actually be quite difficult at points. So I've got to jump here. There is a pattern to this. I can't remember the pattern, but it is there. And then you basically have to do this for quite a while until eventually the eruptions stop, because they're covered up by the sort of diamondy rocks that we killed earlier. Well, destroyed earlier, I should say, not killed. They weren't alive to begin with. So apparently I've been recording this for an hour. That's pretty good. There you go, so here we go. This is where they'll start falling now. Again, if you're under them, you die. Which makes complete sense. And I think that's it then. Yeah, I was expecting this to take 2 hours, but if it's only taken an hour, that's pretty good. So to complete this level, just jump on this. And we're done. And we're getting bug hunt again. I would have preferred the bug toss, but oh well. Timon's probably the hardest character to control in this game. Just because, whatever, I don't really care. Simba's Return. This is a puzzle-based level. And I always quite liked this because it had that sense of foreboding as the penultimate level. The mechanic for this level is you have to go through the right doors. If you don't, you get sent back to the previous one, or you get sent back to the beginning. I used to know this off by heart. I can't promise that now. Is it this last one? Yeah, okay, that one's correct at least. Now, I want to see if I can remember this annoying mechanic for when you flip enemies over, because I really need that for the next level. The problem is the hyenas will eventually attack me, so no. Maybe it's better if I just wait till the next level. As far as I know as well, this particular theme, along with the Be Prepared one, isn't actually based on anything in the film's soundtrack. So this is, unless if I'm mistaken, a completely original composition. And it's pretty damn good for what it is. And yeah, jumping on hyenas when you're an adult is literally insta-death for them. They can't break out of it. And you also can't move to the next door until you've killed every enemy, I believe. Right, I need the bug, quick. And if you have to return to an area I should say, you do have to pretty much kill the same enemies again. Now, which door is it? I believe it's one of these three. Jeez, this is like being on a quiz show where you have like the multiple choice. We'll go for this one. Yeah, that's correct, I think. I will get one of these doors wrong. I'm guaranteeing that, because it's been so long since I've played it. I might already be wrong now, to be honest. I don't actually remember. Thankfully, you're not timed. If this had been timed, I would be panicking right now. And I think 8 lives is as many lives as you can get. I could be wrong. No, I'm back here. Okay. We'll try the second door then. But yeah, I always found it fascinating that the hyenas were smaller scale, and just the enemies in general were much smaller scale when you're grown up. If it's not this one, it's the one on the right. No, that was wrong. Okay. reasons why this game took so long to complete, because Shaky Jake couldn't remember which doors to go through. Okay, I believe it's gonna be the first door. It should be the first door. If I've already been through that, then I apologise. No, it's this door. Awesome. I recognise this bit now. So it's not the third door, it's the first one. And I believe the door on the other side just doesn't take you anywhere. It just takes you back to the beginning of the level, I think. This hyena can be a pain because of that. Oh, come down here. Fight me like an actual hyena. Okay, there we go. I have to kind of trick it. There we go. Ooh, come on. Don't you... I do not want to die to a hyena that's starving. Come on. Thank you. That would be an embarrassing way for an adult lion to go. Which door is it? You? Ah. Oh, no, of course not. Of course it isn't. I have to try and do this without dying. I can't guarantee that now. Because I've got to do all that again, and there is a boss battle at the end. There we go. No, told you I'd die. Wasn't worth playing for anyway. I know the order now, so go through here. God, I'm trying to think. Imagine if this level had been timed. This would have been considered the hardest level, I would have said, if it had been. Because not many people seem to talk about this level particularly. It's just kind of the build-up to the finale. My fingers are aching though now. I think I've been playing this for quite a while. Admittedly, not as long as I thought I was going to have to play it. It's also because I'm using the directional keys as well. Treat it like how I would when I was a kid, except the directional keys aren't exactly the best keys to use for games, especially nowadays. I'm only doing it with this because of childhood nostalgia. And I always change the attacks to Z and X because it always made more sense to me. Right, so this one, let's get up here so we don't get... It's going to be the second door, and then I think that's the last area. Once we go through this door, there's one more area and then that's it. And you don't get a bonus bug on this, or if you... Okay, how did I do that attack? How did I do it? How did I do that attack? I did it without pressing anything, or if I did, I wasn't paying attention. Okay, last level. Here we go. Pride Rock. And look, we're fighting that ominous figure from level 3. He's not important to the plot, I bet. Again, the game doesn't make it clear because the game just assumes you've seen the film. But this is Scar, Simba's uncle. And you have to basically beat him up. So this is where the game gets a bit spammy. If it hadn't got spammy earlier, just keep pressing this. If you press that, Scar will occasionally jump on you. And it will play it. I'm going to see if I can trigger it. There you go. That will happen and you'll lose a ton of health. So you don't want to do that particularly. Unless if you want to die. only use the more advanced attack when he's exhausted like that. So you can kind of get the theme of why I've been wanting to learn how to flip enemies, because for those of you who have seen The Lion King, spoiler alert if you haven't, it has been 23 years, you need to flip Scar off Pride Rock. Can I jump on him? I can. It just doesn't look very good on PC apparently. I can't remember how many hits it takes for Scar to retreat, but he will eventually. Go away, Scar, I wanna complete this game so I have a video to upload eventually. Come on, go away. No, don't. Okay, is this it? Okay, he jumped away from the edge of the screen, but he didn't jump away from this area. It would have been nice if he did the if he actually left now. There we go. Right, so jumping on him is quicker. Oh no, here we go. Athletic jumps. Leap of. Oh my god! That was such a pathetic anticlimactic death. But thankfully we don't have to beat Scar up again for now. So let's try that again. There we go. I undershot that jump so much. Isn't it fun watching people play games badly? Because that's what I felt, you know, today has been. Just me playing a game from my childhood badly. This level is nice though. From what I recall as well, the higher you progress at this level, if you fall down, you're dead because the fire rises with you. There seems to be no thunder and lightning though on PC. I'm not quite sure why. The Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive had lightning, so why doesn't the PC version? And before anyone asks, yes, I have played this game on various systems. I am sad, I know, but this game does mean a lot to me, so I've always wanted to see what the different versions offered. I haven't played the Amiga version, I haven't played the Game Boy version, I haven't played the Master System version, the NES version, etc, etc, but I do know what the differences are because it's well documented. I know the Amiga version doesn't have as many levels because of storage space and also because, you know, lack of time in the port, but for what it offered it was good at the time and still probably is still good. That was foolish of me. So, for example, if you were to jump off the edge here now, you would die, if I remember correctly, because the fire rises with the player. So, beating up Scar, if you jump on him, it seems to progress a lot quicker. So we're going to do that. And then go away from him, because that scratch will hurt you. There we go. See how much quicker that went because we jumped on him? Okay, you can go up here to get a health bug. I'm trying to think if it's worth it. You know what, screw it, I'll get it. There's no checkpoints in this, so you don't have to worry about particularly... Oh, there's the lightning. Well, I heard something that sounded like lightning. I think if you fell down there now, you would die. But yeah, again, the ending themes for the Lion King film that have been adapted for the game, they're on point here. They sound really good. Props to the audio designers for, well, the audio team for doing this. The sound designers especially deserve credit. Again, it's a little bit easier on PC. I definitely remember there being thunder and lightning. Maybe they just moved it for the PC version. I don't know. So, final stretch. Let's kill Scar for killing my dad. because nobody kills James Earl Jones and gets away with it. And I used to get stuck on this when I was a kid, because I'd get Scar exhausted but then not know how to do the final manoeuvre. So you need him in that position, but you need him to permanently stay like that. Okay, he seems to be exhausted, so let's get him facing this way. Now, how on earth do I flip you? There we go, figured it out. I think I have anyway. We'll do it a few more times. Let's make it look a little bit more interesting than just throwing him off the cliff. So, I believe, is it? I'm now having trouble working out the controls again. Come on. Jesus. How did I do it? I just did it about a minute ago. Cue an hour of me trying to do this now, I bet you. Ooh, hello. Did I just activate a glitch? Yes! Look at that. See if I can do it again. Moonwalking Simba! I did not know this was a thing. This is awesome! Can I do that in the other levels? This is amazing! Oh! Reasons I'm glad I've played this game again. Because apparently Simba can just moonwalk. Except, you know, forwards. But it's still moonwalking. Can't do it with the regular attack. Oh, this will never get old. Why can't I just take Scar down this way? You know, just... I'm going to ice skate you to the edge and you're going to fall off because you're dazzled by my moves. Okay. Enough messing around. We're going to kill you, Scar. And I'm going to remember how to do this. It's not downwards. Alright. Up. Right. Up, left. Right, I am going to do this though. Scar? Oh, does it not work? Scar? No, it just cuts off. Oh, okay, I need to think for a moment. I know it. The logic in my head makes sense. I have to press attack and then I have to press it in the direction that I want him to fly, I think. So if I want him to go fly left, I would press left and... No, I seriously can't remember. I will figure it out. I just need to, you know, think back a long way. I did it twice, and I kind of registered the second time I did it, but not the first time. And this is the problem I used to have when I was a kid as well. I used to get stuck on this because I knew what I had to do, but I didn't know how to actually do it, so I would end up starting the game again. Because, you know, impatience. And I know this was a problem some players had. They couldn't exactly figure out how to actually throw it, even though they knew that's what they had to do because they'd seen the film. So, oh jeez. Okay, let's try. I'm going to flip you, Scar. It might take me 3 hours, but I'm going to flip you. Right, face this way, because I need you facing that way for your death. I mean, it would have just been easier to have just, been exiled by now. You could leave with some dignity intact. You could leave me with the throne. And then you could just, you had your time as king. It was all good. I just need to think back. I need to remember how to do this. Because in my head it's, you press attack and then you have to sort of press it in the direction you want him to go in. Except it ain't doing it. And I do kind of want to finish this game now because I'm literally close to the end. I'm going to have to just experiment with keys, I think. So, Z. No. Right, Scar, you're going the wrong way. Come on, head back that way. Be a good uncle. Would have just been easier if you could just scratch him to the end and then he just falls off pathetically, because his current sprite is pretty pathetic looking, let's be honest. Is it Z and X? ZX and... There we go! Figured it out. Okay, so it's literally you have to press both attacks and then you have to press up. I am an idiot. Okay. So, come on. No, you're going a bit too far back. Come on. We want you to die in style. Are you ready, Scar? This is what you get for killing James Earl Jones. Oh, this is actually a bit more interesting on the Super Nintendo version because it plays the triumphant theme instead of the level theme continuing, but oh well. So, because Scar is now dead, it rains again. Because that's how nature works, apparently. If there's a diseased king who rules over a kingdom, it becomes diseased in turn. And there you go. That's the Lion King, pretty much. That is the entirety of the Lion King game, developed by Westwood Studios. Are we actually going to progress on to the ending now? Or are we just going to be a bit more... There we go.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
Except for that corner over there. That still doesn't belong to you, Simba. Okay? That still doesn't belong to you. Oh, and that's annoying as well. The PC version doesn't have Can You Feel the Love Tonight at the end. Ah, that's really sad. Okay, I must have got spoiled by some of the sound choices on the Super Nintendo because they had a couple of they had some interesting sound direction. The PC version just seems to stick with certain songs. So yeah, Circle of Life, still pretty good, but the 16-bit rendition of Can You Feel the Love Tonight does sound pretty nice. But that's The Lion King. Fantastic game, very difficult, it's deceptively difficult, worth playing. It's my childhood embedded in one game. It's a game I never progressed beyond level 2 for years because I was an idiot who couldn't read at the time, or I could read but I wasn't paying attention to the obvious instructions of roaring at monkeys because how colourful this game is. But that's The Lion King. Was it my best run through of it? Obviously not, I died a few times, but overall it was a fun way to spend an hour and a half, according to how long I've been recording for. So I'm hoping this can all be uploaded as one feature-length part. Again, I'm really unfamiliar with how YouTube works now and what Google have done to it. So if I'm starting this on another channel, which I presume I will be, I may have to split this up into several videos to prove that I will upload before I'm allowed to upload longer than 15 minutes. I'm not actually sure if that's still the case, I could be completely wrong. But yeah, that's The Lion King. Still a great game, even in 2017, it's still a lot of fun to play. And I would play it again, off camera, and hopefully I'd play it a bit better than what I did tonight. Hopefully I wouldn't have a brain freeze over, trying to flip Scar off the edge of Pride Rock. Hopefully I wouldn't die as often. I had some pretty embarrassing deaths in this run, but again, if I'd have played it all before recording it properly, I think that would have been less fun and it would have been more obvious that I'd been practicing it a lot more. Because the last time I played this game was probably 5 years ago. And is it 5? Yeah, 5 years sounds about right. It could be longer, it could be 6 or 7. But if you haven't played The Lion King on a PC or Super Nintendo or the Sega Mega Drive, Amiga, whatever, it is worth playing, particularly if you're a fan of the film. So some of you might be wondering what my plot for this film was. What the plot of the game version was, because it doesn't actually tell you particularly. And my version is Simba doesn't have a girlfriend in the game, because Nala doesn't exist. So Simba is a lone ranger. He is his own lion. And by the end of the game, he's still his own lion. He's going to rule as a bachelor. And we're back at the main menu. So Simba's his own, his own lion, his own bachelor. And Zazu doesn't exist either, so there's no Rowan Atkinson in this game. So Simba actually is responsible for Mufasa's death in this game. We're going to assume. And because of that, Scar is actually the responsible uncle and exiles him because Simba did cause quite a few problems in this version of The Lion King. And because he doesn't actually interact with Timon and Pumbaa on screen, they're actually separate, he's actually just in the jungle causing a lot of problems because, he's causing anarchy in the animal kingdom, even though it's far away from the Pride Lands. And Simba decides to beat up a gorilla because he can. Because that's what this Simba does. And we've already seen this because he beat up a hyena on the first level on his own. Basically because I'm a spoilt prince and you're turfing on my father's land. Well, sorry, you're trespassing on my father's turf. So I'm going to make a hyena out of you. So Simba is really off the rails in this game. And then when Simba returns to Pride Rock and the Pride Lands, he just kills Scar because he wants the throne back. Not for noble reasons, not because Mufasa told him to, even though Mufasa did appear in the sky. It's because, He's already murdered a lot of animals in the animal kingdom. What better way to prove a point than to murder his own uncle? And if you are taking me seriously at this point, then I must have done something right, because I don't mean any of that whatsoever. But thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully I will see you in another video with another game that's hopefully longer than one part, and hopefully I'm a bit more in practice when it comes to speaking and when it comes to playing games. But I figured it'd be good to start off with the very first game I ever played, and it's been a massively fun time playing it again. So thank you very much, and goodbye.